Yo, what is up everybody? It is Archimedes Aizen here, back at it again with another video. Now this video is what if Naruto had Wraith's powers, and yeah, without further ado guys, thanks thank God for making this banger ass thumbnail, but let's get straight into the what if. Now we actually start this what if when Naruto is born, which he would still have, he would kind of look the same. He would just kind of have like blue hair, I guess you can say, like dark blue hair, which would kind of be weird, but you know how they say, it is what it is. But basically, after he would be born, Naruto and the whole Nine Tails attack would go completely the same. Obito would put the explosive attack on Naruto's, near his stomach, somewhere around there, and it was gonna blow up. But then Minato saved him. But then Minato kind of left, saving Naruto. So Obito took Kushina to the Sealant Shrine before ripping out the Nine Tails and forcing it into a summoning pact. Before releasing it into the village. Now, pretty much after that would happen, he would put it into the Genjutsu, obviously, and he would just start rampaging through the village. Now, Minato would get to his compound before saving Kushina and putting her there with her newly born son, and he would put on his Hokage's cloak and pretty much head out to, whoop some ass. So he would head towards the mountain, or mountain near the Hokage's tower, or somewhere around there, and he would, see Madara or Obito, and he would pretty much have that same fight with him, where he slams a Rasengan into Obito's back. Now, pretty much, once this would happen, Obito would leave after pretty much getting a Rasengan slammed into his back, and the Genjutsu would release, but Kurama would not, chill. He still wants some smoke. So he'd go around, keep destroying more stuff, and he would see, Minato on, the Hokage tower. He would get pretty mad at his presence, and he would open his mouth and start to make a Biju Dama. So once he would release his Biju Dama, Minato would just casually jump in front of it and flying Rasengan out of the village, creating an explosion in the distance, or they would see an explosion in the distance. So after that would happen, Minato and Kushina would pretty much seal the Nine Tails into Naruto, just like in canon. But the fact is, Naruto will not be having, the Nine Tails. So let's just say when Naruto has the Nine Tails sealed inside of him, Nine Tails, Naruto has Wraith's power. There's a portal, so Kurama gets sent through a portal. I know, I was like, it kind of sounds dumb, but it's definitely reasonable. So there'd be no Nine Tails. Okay, so basically, Naruto would be raised by Hiruzen for 4 years, since they can't leave a baby in the apartment. Nah. So after that, he would be given an apartment and other stuff like that, and for the next few years, he'd pretty much just he would get his shit rocked by the villagers and lower ranked ninja, and it'd be a pretty hard life, except for one day. So Naruto would be walking around until he heard a voice in his head, basically saying, watch out, dodge. And Naruto would just out of curiosity dodge his head, and there would be an arrow that barely missed his head. And Naruto would be kind of confused. How did he know what, who saved him or told him to dodge, and then he'd pretty much look around and he would see this ninja with a bow and arrow. So Naruto would just randomly, for some reason, disappear. He would void jump pretty much without even knowing. It's the tactical of Wraith. So Wraith's ability is tactical. You pretty much disappear into space matter, I guess you can say. And her passive tells you if someone's aiming at you or if there's danger. Her main ability opens a portal, and then on the other side creates a two-way portal. And then her other ability from the comics is to basically see the outcome of every fight. So Naruto would see the outcome that he would pretty much rock their shit. So he would pretty much appear behind the ninja and just randomly punch. And for some reason, the punch packed a lot of power. It literally punched a guy through a few buildings, and it was quite strong. So after this, the villagers were very mad, so they would start who would want to run some hands. So Naruto would pretty much just whoop the villagers pretty quickly, and then the Anbu would, like the root would come, and pretty much Naruto would then get knocked out. So basically Naruto would be taken in by Danzo, like around 5 or 6 years old, and pretty much Danzo, he would join the root. So after this would happen, Danzo would train him, pretty much not experiment, but like see what his powers are. It's not that hard to figure it out with Danzo. It's pretty easy. So he would figure out his powers, like space-time manipulations is what they would say. So he would train his abilities for the next 10 years before he would be 16. So pretty much after this, he would have gained his own suit, the suit that's in the thumbnail. So yeah, it would be kind of busting, no cap. So pretty much after he would get trained a lot for 10 years, it would have been the day of the graduation exams. So just letting you know, Naruto can use chakra with the powers, so don't worry, it's not like he has no chakra, so he'll be able to use both. So he would have learned a lot of hard techniques. So he would have learned elemental, all 5 elements. He would have then learned shadow clones, any jutsu. It was pretty easy for him to learn jutsus in general. So pretty much Naruto would head towards the academy, and once he would pretty much get there, he would walk up these stairs before sitting down in the chair. Now once he'd pretty much sit down, he'd pretty much wait for the teacher to come along, and he would sit with Sasuke Uchiha, and pretty much no one recognized him since they only started their academy when they were 12, and since Naruto joined Root at 6, they didn't really recognize him too much, or they weren't really used to him as the other people who were there since they were 12. So pretty much Sakura and Ino would come in wanting to sit near Sasuke, but that just wouldn't happen. Someone's already sitting there. I'm not really gonna create a commotion there. So pretty much after a few minutes, Iruka would come in and start to explain to them what they'll be doing today. So after a few minutes, he would explain that, hey, we're doing the written exams, and then we're doing the practical exams, so it'll be pretty easy for you guys to become getting if you guys studied. So he would walk around and start heading these papers, and they would start the written portion of the exams. So Naruto would just start writing the written portion of the exams, and he would pretty much easily pass it. So he would hand the paper into Mizuki, but turns out Mizuki was trying to make the answers all wrong. So when he gave it to Iruka, Iruka would see that all the questions were wrong. All the answers were wrong, and it was almost like it was forgerized, since Naruto seemed pretty smart. So pretty much he would call the Hokage and tell him about this, and pretty much the Hokage would come in, and he would act all cool and stuff like that, and then they would pretty much just arrest Mizuki. It wasn't that hard to figure out what he was doing after they pretty much searched his house and saw the planning board of wanting to steal the scroll of sealing. So Mizuki would be arrested and thrown in prison, while Naruto would have passed the written portion of the exams. So Naruto and the rest of the Konoha 12 or any of the academy students would do the practical portion of the exams, was literally just to make shadow clones. That's it. So Naruto would easily make shadow clones, since literally he has chakra, and technically he has clones inside of his mind. So yeah, tell him if someone's aiming at him or someone's in danger, kind of like that. So pretty much after he would kind of pass the practical portion, all the teams would head home after doing that, and the next day Naruto would wake up, and he would head towards the academy after putting on the drip. So once he would get there, he would see his team, and he would sit on the same table as them. So Iruka would walk in and pretty much start to introduce the teams. Team 7 would be Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. Team 8 would be Hinata, Ikiba, and Shino. And Team 10 would be Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino. So after all the teams are basically announced, Asuma and Kurenai would come pick up their teams, and Team 7 have to wait about 2 to 3 hours for Kakashi to come along. So once Kakashi would get there, Kakashi would say that they were pretty boring, since Naruto didn't do his usual prank, and he has no reason to. But Kakashi would tell everyone to head up to the roof and to meet them there. So Naruto would press the button on his suit, and he would void jump. So he'd quickly run up the stairs, and then he would appear on the stair of the stairway, like upstairs on the roof. There was a place where he can sit on the stairs. Well, that's where he appeared, and Kakashi would be quite amazed at this. But then he'd remember from the reports in the roots that Naruto had this type of space-time ninjutsu. So pretty much what would happen is once the other two would get upstairs, Kakashi would tell them to introduce themselves. So Sakura would go first, and she would just pretty much mumble the whole time, but everyone got an idea what she was thinking of. So the next person would be Naruto, and Naruto would pretty much say that he likes training and studying astronomy and space-time ninjutsu, and his dislikes are not studying and being busy with not studying. It's pretty much the same thing, which everyone thought. And his goal is basically to discover other planets in the multiverse or the universe. So pretty much Kakashi kind of be intrigued by his goal, and he'd be would wonder if he could actually do this, since he's never heard any stories, even from the Sage of Six Paths, about him going to different planets. So it'd be kind of a surprise if Naruto did actually complete this goal. So the next person would be Sasuke, and Sasuke would go on about how he wants to get revenge and kill Itachi for killing the clan and stuff like that. So he would just say his depressing shit. So pretty much after everyone would introduce their goals and etc., Kakashi would explain to meet him at training ground 7 around 6 a.m. maybe earlier. Try to be there earlier, and pretty much don't eat breakfast, or you'll pretty much you'll puke. Like, I'll make you puke it up. So after this, they Team 7 would head to their respected homes, and Naruto would head to his home before pretty much studying for the night and then heading to sleep. Now once the next morning, he would get up and he would put on his suit and put on the helmet. He would pretty much void jump all the way to the training ground. It's kind of far, since the void jump lasts maybe like 15 seconds at the most, and this what if it's gonna sometimes be longer, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, because in the cinematic it's way longer. So after Naruto gets to the training ground, he would hand his teammates some food, since he already ate some, and they would pretty much eat it after Naruto would convince them that Kakashi was kind of capping on that. So Naruto and the rest of Team 7 would be just chilling there for about 1.5 hours. But like middle of that, Naruto would get the voice in his head telling him someone's watching you. And pretty much Naruto try to pretend like he doesn't notice, but he looks around and sees that Kakashi is pretty much hiding in the trees. Now Naruto would pretty much make a gun symbol at Kakashi, and he would just shoot it. Like, nothing would come out, but it's kind of like a taunt. And Kakashi would come out the tree, and he would start to explain to them what they'll be doing in the bell test. Now pretty much Kakashi would explain that, hey, they need you guys need to get the bells from me, and he would show the 2 bells, but Sakura would be like, wait, isn't there 3 of us and 2 bells? How are we all gonna pass? And pretty much Kakashi would say that only 2 of you will be joining the team, and 1 of you will be going back to the academy to basically learn again. So everyone would be only Sakura, but Sakura would kind of be a little worried, but Naruto and Sasuke, they're completely fine. They know they're gonna pass no matter what. So pretty much Naruto, by the way, Naruto is quite the prodigy. He's not like Naruto in canon, stupid. No, he's not stupid. So pretty much he knows all the techniques, he knows his legacy, stuff like that. So Naruto and the rest of Team 7 would hear Kakashi say start, and once Kakashi starts it, Naruto would void jump and pretty much pick up the 2 of his teammates, and they would go into the void jump. Now he would head into the forest, and he would start to explain to them about a plan they can do. So Naruto would make a plan saying that Sasuke and Sakura will keep Kakashi occupied by pretty much throwing jutsus at him. Sakura can do the shuriken and kunai shadow clone jutsu, while Sasuke can do the fire style jutsus, any fire style he knew at the point. So pretty much there'd be no disagreement. They would agree that, hey, we should definitely do this. So pretty much after they would come up with their plan, Sakura would go in the middle of the training ground, and she would pretty much throw like poison tipped kunais and shurikens, and then do the shuriken shadow clone jutsu. Now after this would happen, Kakashi would easily like dodge all of them, and he would catch one of them, which would spread the poison. And he would say, you need something more stronger than this to be an elite jonin of the village. But Sakura just says, I don't need any jutsus, I've already got you. And pretty much Kakashi would start feeling a little dizzy, and Sakura would start to explain what he just injected into his body. She would say, like, feeling dizzy, well, I just injected a high dose of anesthesia into your body. Let's just say that was a thing back then. So yeah, and Kakashi would start to get a little nervous. He's literally about to pass out, but he would put chakra into his hand and he would kind of remove it, but it was kind of too late. There was already a fireball coming right behind him, so Kakashi would turn around and pretty much get scorched by it. And when Kakashi is revealed, you would see it's just like a burnt log. Kakashi would then appear behind Sasuke, and they would have that same taijutsu fight before Kakashi would pretty much get used as the hand signs, kind of how Sasuke used Naruto as hand signs during their fight. He would just use force Kakashi to use hand signs, and he would jump back before doing a fire style fireball jutsu. But Kakashi would use an earth style mud wall, and Naruto knew he was gonna do this, so he would get out of his void jump right behind Kakashi. He would get his Wraith's kunai. Yeah, she has a kunai, not the Naruto type kunai, but it's actually called a kunai. So he would appear behind him. Why did I say her? He would appear behind Kakashi and pretty much go to stab him, and he would stab him kind of through the back area, not the spinal cord, but a little bit to the left. If you were I would say the right, since never mind. But you would stab him kind of through the rib, so somewhere around that area. Then Kakashi would turn around and he would turn into a lightning shadow clone. Now pretty much Naruto would get zapped, or what would look like he gets zapped, before he would quickly void jump. Now he would appear behind Kakashi before throwing a kick, and then he would appear above Kakashi before pretty much doing another kick, so he would kind of be off guard. So Kakashi would be slammed into the floor, and Naruto would knock him out. So pretty much Naruto would grab the bells, throw one to Sakura and throw one to Sasuke before tying Kakashi up to the log. Now when Kakashi would wake up, he would tell them that they passed, and he would explain to them about the purpose of teamwork and what was the purpose of the test. So after he would explain it, the team would learn something, and they would head home after untying Kakashi, of course. Naruto would get some ramen, and then he would head home. So once we'd head home, he'd pretty much just study for the rest of the night, or study, I guess you can say, at some point. Then he would fall asleep in the evening. So once Naruto would wake up, we're actually going to do a time skip for around 1 month. Now in this whole time skip, Naruto would have learned more of his abilities. Sasuke would have attained the Tutomo Sharingan and learned the Chidori, which I don't think is hard. And Naruto would have learned way more jutsus. I don't want to go on a list, but let's just say he's mad OP when it comes to jutsus. So Sakura would have learned more about chakra infused fist and learned the taijutsu styles, kind of similar to Rock Lee. And she would have learned more about healing, so she can heal herself and heal others during a battle. So she'll get closer and closer to learning the 100 healings. So pretty much after that 1 month time skip, Team 7 would have been quite bored with the D-rank missions. They probably did around 500 D-rank missions in that 1 month time skip. So if you think about it, 500 divided by 30, that's maybe so 30 times 20 is 600. So they might have done maybe around 15 D-rank missions a day, which is a lot. It's very a lot, since it was quite easy for them to finish them due to Naruto's void jumping. It would have been easier for them to do it. So after Team 7 would have been quite bored of these D-rank missions. Even Kakashi would be quite bored of these missions. They would head towards the Hokage's tower, and they would ask Hiruzen for a better mission. So once they would, get there, they would ask him like again for a better mission, and Hiruzen would ask Kakashi if they were ready to go on a better mission, and he would say, yeah, I think they're ready. So pretty much, Hiruzen would give them that that C rank mission, and he would start to explain to them what they'll be doing. So he would explain to them that, hey, you're escorting a bridge builder to the land of the waves. His name is Tazana, and you have to pretty much protect him while he's building a bridge. And it didn't seem too hard to do this. So once everyone would get ready, they would meet up with Tazana, and Tazana would just, he would see that the team is quite strong. He wouldn't say that the team was weak, since everyone had their own, glow up. They were a little more taller, a little more leaner. So pretty much, once everyone would get ready, they would head to the village gates before, they would leave. So once the team would be on their way, they would kind of be like maybe 3 hours in. They would just be walking, and pretty much Naruto would feel like inside the voice. The voice would pretty much say, "There's 2 people hiding in the puddle to your right, 180 degrees, or 90 degrees, or yeah, it's from 12 to 90, so it'd be 45 degrees." Yeah. So pretty much Naruto would quickly look at the puddle and sense a presence there. And pretty much he would nod at Sasuke, and Sasuke would pretty much do a fire style fireball jutsu, which would eliminate the transformation jutsu, and they would pretty much burn a lot. And Naruto would appear behind them, doing a few taijutsu kicks or punches, basically knocking them out before they would do a little torture techniques, and they would get information from the demon brothers, or they would identify him as the demon brothers. So they would, Naruto would get his Wraith kunai out, and he would start interrogating them, and he would easily get the information. He worked in the roots, he can easily get information, and they're not even like Anbu or S rank ninja, they're just tuning level ninja. So after he would get the information, he'd pretty much snap their necks, and Team 7 would be on their way. Now once they would pretty much get to the land of the waves, like just the forest away, they'd be walking through until the mist would get really thick, like they could barely see. Like Naruto would have to go in the void jump to even see anything. So once they would feel that someone put a hidden mist jutsu, Kakashi would tell them to duck. Now they would duck, and a blade would come flying through, and they would almost hit him. It would almost hit them. So they would be kind of pissed. No lie, someone's trying to kill them. This isn't some C rank mission where they already know that's an A rank mission. But once they would see Zabuza and Momochi, this mission will quickly go from A rank to S rank. Since if you see any S rank ninja, that would turn, or rogue ninja, whatever you want to say, that would turn the mission into an S rank mission. So I'm kind of tripping with the words now since I just woke up. So pretty much after the team would start to get into a fight with Zabuza, mainly Kakashi, and that fight would go exactly to canon. But Naruto would try out his main ability. He's tried this out a lot. So he'd put down the portal, because there's a water clone in front of him stopping them from getting to the Zabuza, so he can drop the water prison. So he'd put down a portal, and he would run through, and he would kind of void jump at the same time. So he'd be behind, and he would turn around and kind of put the portal, so when they come out the portal, they'll be facing Zabuza. So he would do that, and Sasuke would know the cue when he would get out the void jump, and he would start fighting with the clone. Now Sasuke would pretty much jump into the portal, get his Chidori ready, and when he got the Chidori ready, he would go and to pierce it, through Zabuza. So he'd probably pierce it through his lung, and after this he would be forced to basically drop the water prison jutsu, and Kakashi would take over, just really running them hands over. He would start really punching and kicking Zabuza, just copying every jutsu he tries. Zabuza is not having any luck right now. So he'd be on the verge of death when pretty much Zabuza would be killed. Like, I'm not trying to have like the whole arc where they have to train for 1 week and then they have to come back. No. So they would kill Zabuza. Haku would then come down and pretend to be that Miss Tracker Ninja, maybe try to save Zabuza, but that wouldn't work. Remember, Wraith can see every outcome. I mean Naruto, but Naruto has Wraith's power, so Wraith can see every outcome. He can see the outcome where Haku throws the senbones at Zabuza's neck and pretends to be a Miss Tracker Ninja. So Naruto would appear behind her and snap her neck, pretty much killing her. So that would pretty much be the end of the Land of the Waves, or you thought it was. So they would ask Tazuna if there's any shelter, and Kakashi would pretty much pass out. Now, once he would pass out, they would head to his house and they would rest up for the next few days, or mainly Kakashi. So after this would happen, Naruto would be walking around until he would probably, he would see the poverty of the village. He thought the Mist, this was part of the Mist Nation. Why are they not helping their people? So he would go around and ask people, why is this, land so like poor? And they would tell him that Gato Industries have pretty much colonized their land, and with they can't really get help from the Mist Village. So Naruto, looking at like the kids who are starving, you'd go into the forest and start hunting animals with his Wraith kunai, and he would get a lot of animals, about 250 animals, and he would start cooking up. And he would start cooking up, some vegetables, something like that. I don't know what they would cook back then, but he would just start cooking a feast. So the people would start to gather, since the food kind of smells busting, no cap. Like, just talking about it makes me hungry as well. I should have ate breakfast. I don't think I need breakfast, but never mind. So he would start feeding everyone, and after like maybe a few hours, they would all start like drinking, not like alcohol, but they would literally start drinking like water or something like that. And they would start celebrating, because this is the first night they actually had a good meal in a while. So pretty much it would all be good until these two maybe gangsters, I can't say gangsters, my bad, these two samurai, or like these mob members that worked for Gato. I said gangster, bro, that's so I couldn't think of anything else to say. So pretty much the people start to get a little scared, and Naruto get a little bit confused. But then he remembered that these people are civilians, they barely have any chakra. So he would look towards the kind of adult next to him, and he would ask him, what's the deal with these guys? And the villager would tell them that that's one of Gato's men, and they're the reason why they're always colonized and while they're poor. And Naruto would get a little bit mad, so he would void jump, grab the neck of these two people, and void jump in the forest, and he would snap their neck after getting some information. Now, once he would get information on the hideout, he would head towards the hideout, run in with a portal, and pretty much just kill everyone. I don't really need to describe it, there's no one strong there. So he would kill Gato, take the money, and give it to everyone before still having money, and he would pretty much keep some for himself. So he would throw the money into one of his dimensions, and Team 7 would have helped Tazuna build the bridge with the clones. They would have helped exponentially. Like 100 clones could be learning how to build. After that, and 100 clones after that will learn, and it would keep easily building the bridge. So about an hour later, they would have built the bridge, and Team 7 would have headed it, would be out the village. Now, once they would pretty much get back to their own village, Naruto would be called in by Danzo. Now, Danzo would tell him, that, hey, basically, I'm giving you an assignment. So Orochimaru has broke our deal, since Naruto's kind of his right-hand man or his left-hand man, whatever you want to say. So he would tell Naruto that Orochimaru has betrayed them and that we need to deal with him, tie the loose end. So Naruto and a couple other root members would pretty much go to the land of the Sound and to basically assassinate Orochimaru of the Sanling. So pretty much once they would head out on their mission, before Naruto would say goodbye to Team 7, he would tell them that he'll try to be back as soon as possible, but for now he's like joining of the village. He's an Anbu, so he needs to do his duties. So pretty much on the Yanbu team, Naruto leading the team, would head out, and they would kind of be in the forest right outside the Sound Village. Now this place was heavily guarded, and pretty much once they would get there, to that forest. There would be maybe about 70 to 100 guards guarding that area, just in that area. Now, once Naruto would void jump by the entrance, they would see two guards, like two guard towers, two guards inside. Naruto would then pretty much appear behind one, snap his neck, and then the other guard would notice, since they're kind of like at a crossway. Naruto would then throw his kunai. It would go through the head of another person, or like impale itself in their head before killing that person, and he would get his kunai back, and they would run into the village, going to like the governor's office, not Orochimaru, but like the person who works under him. So once they would get there, they would go in with stealth, and they would pretty much eliminate any guards destroying their body, or Naruto would throw it into his own pocket dimension pretty much, and they would go in and they would start to interrogate the I forgot what it's called. It's like, I remember in the One Piece arc before Alabama, there was a word for a governor. I can't remember it now, but basically they would start to interrogate the leader, like the temporary leader, since Orochimaru's not there to constantly lead. So they would start taking info about the locations, and pretty much once they would get the location of the hideout where Orochimaru is, they would pretty much head to that location. Now once they would get there, they would pretty much run through everyone and just slaughter them. There's no mercy. So once they would get there, they would go to Orochimaru's room, and Orochimaru would be kind of like coughing and stuff like that. He'd be sick, he needs a body. But Naruto would kind of just like go in, and he would appear behind Orochimaru before making a Raikiri and using it with his void, his tactical, so he can erase Orochimaru from existence. And Orochimaru would be too caught off guard. Like, this guy just appeared using space-time ninjutsu, which he admits it's pretty impressive, but he's literally about to die. So Naruto would impale the Raikiri infused void style lightning blade. Yeah, so he would impale it through Orochimaru's chest, basically ending him. He would destroy Orochimaru's body, and they would raid the whole place. They would take all the information about the Akatsuki. Well, they would have learned about the Akatsuki, but they would have taken information because of that. Like, they learned of it from that information. I just went on a tangent, but forgive me. So Naruto would go to the other pretty much hideouts, and he would also start recruiting. He would recruit Karen and Suigetsu. I don't know about Jugo. He's kind of too mad, I guess you can say. He gets too mad. So they would have killed everyone else. They would have let go of all the prisoners that were there, or all the test subjects, and pretty much Naruto would kind of start his own small little team of Suigetsu and Karen. Now, pretty much they would head back to the Leaf Village, and once they would get there, it would have been about a month. So it would have been like the Chunin exams, like the 1 month training arc. So Naruto would have got there to basically, once he would hand in his report, he would go to like Kakashi, and he would see that Kakashi is training Sasuke. Now, Naruto would walk up to Sasuke and pretty much hand them like a folder or file. And since Naruto would basically explain that, I know you want to do your goal or your reality, but here's a little research. Just think of it as a favor. So Sasuke would open the file, and he would start to see all the weaknesses and strengths and how you can attain that eye. And he realizes there was an alternate way to attaining the Mangekyo. There was a certain practice that was used by Uchiha. I'm just making this up, by the way. This is not canon. So if you were to go into a certain Uchiha cave a little bit outside the village, and you were to stay there for 3 days fighting this alternate version of yourself, and if you beat that version, you would get the Mangekyo without going blind. You would almost get like that eternal Mangekyo, but you wouldn't have the shape. You would only have your abilities. So pretty much Sasuke would learn of this, and he would kind of beg, Kakashi to take him there, which you would concede. So Sasuke would head over there, and he would pretty much do that training thing. It would kind of end with the same thing as Ichigo and Tensuzangetsu, him dropping the blade and accepting like the power, I guess you can say, or accepting it in general, accepting the blade. That's what Ichigo did. But Sasuke would kind of do something similar, and that's how he would gain the Mangekyo. And you guys are wondering, this is kind of too OP, isn't he like 13? everyone is kind of like 16 in that generation, so it'll be fine. You know, Sasuke had the EMS at 16. It wasn't too bad. So pretty much once Sasuke would get his power up, he would head towards Sakura and give her a file about the 100 healings, which she would start learning. She has a whole month. She beat Ino. She can easily learn this. So and she learned 100 healings around the same age as well, so it's definitely possible. So Sakura learned the 100 healings without Tsunade. She's not really needed anymore. So you know, once like Naruto would help out his boys, not just kidding, but he would help out his team. You know, he would be called in by the Hokage. Now the Hokage would explain that he has some like he heard from Jiraiya that the Akatsuki might actually be attacking at the Chunin exams due to Naruto's reputation, and they might be coming after the Nine Tails, and they want to do it a little bit early. So pretty much Naruto would kind of be ready for this. You know, he's not too scared, and he just killed Orochimaru, but that's why they're coming after him. They killed one of their members, and that shows his strength. So Naruto would be in the bingo book for about 1 billion Ryu, but you know, it would be dead or alive by the Earth Nation, Stone Village. But basically, they realize his his legacy, so they don't like him because he's related to the fourth Hokage. For the everyone else just wants to be him. So like a lot of villages. I'm sorry, I'm about to go on a tangent, so be prepared. So a lot of villages, when they see people that are pretty strong, they put a bounty on them. So maybe one day they can actually have like one of their ninja fight them, and it would be quite exciting. So they can get their own name out there. You know, this ninja fought this guy, and he would get his own bounty. So it's kind of something like that. You know, bureaucracy, even though it's a hierarchy. So pretty much, once Naruto would talk to Hiruzen, he would head towards his home for basically sleeping for the night. Then we'll do a time skip to the Chunin exams finale, when pretty much he'd be guarding the Hokage. Danzo would kind of be doing his own thing. So Naruto would be, guarding the Hokage, and pretty much it would have finished the Sasuke versus Gaara fight. Sasuke would have put Gaara in a Genjutsu with the EMS. Like, he would have put Shikaku in a Genjutsu and basically sealed Shikaku a little more into like his seal. Like, he would have learned the 5-prong seal, and with his Sharingan, it would have been easier for him to basically seal Shikaku properly. Jeez, what am I saying? So basically, if you guys are wondering why it's 5-prong seal, it is an 8 tetragram seal, so it's not too bad. It's just a simple jutsu, it's easy. So Sasuke would beat Gaara that way, and pretty much it would have been the finale. No, that would have been it. Sasuke would have won the Chunin exams. So what would happen with Sakura? Sakura would have won due to basically Dosu not being there, and he would have, she would have fought against Shino. She would have won. I keep getting the pronouns wrong. I should probably just say their name now. So after this, if you guys are wondering what happened to Kankuro lost to Shino. So so basically Neji would be eliminated by Sakura, which it's actually very plausible. She has her chakra infused fist, she has the 100 healings, she studied the Byakuya. It'd be quite easy for her to win. So it would be Sasuke versus Sakura, and then Sasuke would have won, then it'd be Sasuke versus Gaara. Whew, that tangent I went on. But basically, I'm trying to find a way to explain this. So basically, that's how Sasuke would have won. If I missed anything, just really diss me in the comments. So Sasuke would have won, and he'd be holding up his trophy, but in the middle of the arena, a portal would open, or a Kamui dimension would open, and Naruto really thought that he was the only person who could use it. So he was pretty confused when he saw someone opening a portal, and everyone else thought it was him, but Naruto is right there. So pretty much just Obito would come out. So Obito did something to the other people, except Itachi. I do this with everyone. If I have Obito absorb everyone, or Pain sometimes, or sometimes I do Kabuto. It just depends on the what if. So Obito would have pretty much used the Geto statue to basically absorb all of the Katsuki members, and their deaths wouldn't have been in vain, or that's what he thought at least. So he would have gained he would have been way stronger, and he would pretty much become the 10 tails Jinchuriki. The reason why is the 9 tails would have reformed, and they would have gotten it pretty fast. It would have been hard. It's been 16 years since it died. Now it's reformed, so they would have got that 9 tails pretty easily. Since Naruto didn't use Baryon mode, though, that's the only reason Kurama maybe wouldn't be there. But that didn't happen, so they would have gotten all the tail beasts, and Obito would pretty much become the 10 tails Jinchuriki. Obito can't absorb the 10 tails, but he can only become the 10 tails Jinchuriki. So pretty much Naruto would see Obito like come onto the battlefield, and Sasuke would try to fight him. Like that would not go well. He'd get murked. Now, if you guys are wondering why am I having him get killed, is so he can get that talk with Hagoromo. So Sasuke would have that conversation with Hagoromo while Naruto is fighting Obito. Naruto would use every hack's ability he has. He would throw the Rasen Shuriken, void jump it to disappear, and then he would have it appear behind him, basically slamming it into Obito. But he would realize he would need sage abilities or something similar of that, something as strong as that. So he would then appear behind Obito before punching him, kind of trying to get a few punches in, since that's what's needed. Why not? Taijutsu is the only way you can beat somebody unless you use Sage Jutsu. So he would start to just try to beat Obito with the hands. So he would start punching him, kicking him, using that great kunai to basically send him to a different dimension, like send a few organs to a different dimension. It would work for a while. Like he'd be pretty pressed. So Sasuke would wake up with the same power up, Ren Sharingan, and they would pretty much have their fight. And Sasuke and Naruto would have basically dog watered Obito. Sasuke would have used the teleportation to switch Naruto, and Naruto would have used his own void jump, and they would have used that combo on him. So basically Naruto and Sasuke would kind of do like a combination jutsu. Now when everyone else is looking, they realize that nobody has been able to do this. So Naruto would basically make a like a Chidori-ish, like with the void style. That's what I'm calling it. I made it up. I know it kind of sounds stupid, void style, but it's called like void jump. So I was thinking void style would be pretty cool. So he would do this, and pretty much Sasuke would like put his hand as well, making his own version of the Chidori, infusing Amaterasu, whatever power up or stacking he needs. Naruto would then pretty much open the portal, and then he would open it again right behind Obito before pretty much it would come out and slam the Chidori through Obito, and Obito, since it is void style, Obito's whole body would get separated and sent to different dimensions, being destroyed as well. So they would have basically murked Obito. So after they would pretty much do this, that would be the end of Obito and the end of this what if. So Naruto would have basically lived out the rest of his life just chilling. Sasuke would have become the Hokage, and then he would have pretty much like Itachi would have died from his illness, but Itachi would have told Sasuke what really happened, stuff like that, just like in canon, like when it comes to that stuff, or those events. I don't know why I'm saying that, but basically Naruto wouldn't have become the Hokage. He just kind of would be the shadow Hokage, I guess you can say, or he would basically, like, once they would eliminate Danzo, Naruto would kind of become like the person that leads all the Anbu, like the Anbu captain or Anbu head captain. So Naruto would just, like I said, live the rest of his life, and he would pass down the ability, the Wraith abilities, until all generations to protect the Konoha's legacy. So he'd be quite well known. But without further ado, guys, like I said, this is the end of What If. So bye bye.